Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2018 Lincoln MKZ, we're going to be showing you how to install the Curt Trailer Hitch Receiver. Before we get into that though, let's take a minute, check it out, and make sure it's going to be the right hitch for you. So by putting a trailer hitch on the back of your Lincoln, it's going to help open up your opportunities on what you're going to be able to do with your MKZ. Whether you're trying to use a bike rack like our neighbor here today, or another accessory, or even pull a small trailer around for that matter, this one's going to help allow you to get that done. One of the first things I personally would think of is how's the trailer hitch going to look on the back of the vehicle, because good looking cars, right? Don't want a big eyesore back here. And with this one, it don't really get much better, to be honest with you. For the most part, it's going to be completely hidden. Matter of fact, I had to raise our vehicle up off the ground a little bit so we could actually see what's going on, because when it's on the ground, it kind of disappears, you know. But you're just going to be able to see that receiver tube opening. And I like the collar on this hitch as well, compared to the other hitch available, the Draw Tight. Doesn't have a collar and kind of just looks unfinished to me, at least in my opinion. That one's going to be, that Draw Tight hitch could be a little more visible as well. So with this one here, you know, even how it's positioned on the vehicle, it does sit up pretty tight against the bottom, which is a good thing because these cars do ride low to the ground. And with it sitting up tight, it's going to maximize our ground clearance. The hitch is going to be compatible with all the different submodels of the MKZ, with one exception. If you happen to have the 3-liter V6 EcoBoost engine in your vehicle, it's not going to fit it. But good news is, you know, whether you have all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, or even a hybrid, this will bolt up to the back of your MKZ. This is a Class 2 hitch, so it's going to have the 1¼ by 1¼ receiver tube opening. It's going to use the 1/2-inch size pin and clip. Keep in mind though, a pin and clip don't come included with the hitch. Need one, not a huge deal. You can grab it here at eTrailer. A lot of times if you end up buying a new accessory, they'll come with one, so something to look out for. And the safety chain openings are actually pretty large, easy to get to, and will allow us to use just about any size hook that our trailer might have on it. Compared to the other trailer hitch available, this one's going to have some higher weight capacities, so it'll be able to handle more. When it comes to the maximum gross tongue weight rating, that's going to be 350 pounds, which is the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. That's good for those 1 to 3, maybe even 4 bike racks, just depending on how heavy everything is, to give you an example. And as far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 3,500 pounds, or the amount of weight pulling on the hitch. That is the weight of your trailer plus anything you might have in or on it. I do always like to recommend though, it's always a good idea just to grab your vehicle's owner's manual. That way you can check in there and make sure your Lincoln can handle that much weight safely. Let's grab a couple measurements now, and these will help us figure out what type of accessories will work best. You go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, taking into account the lift that we're parked on. That's going to be about 11 inches. So if you can get an accessory that has a rise in the shank, probably be your best bet. Buy you some more ground clearance back here. And for those of you that plan on towing a small trailer around every now and again, you're going to need to get a ball mount that also has a rise in the shank. Probably that 4 to 6 inch range work well for most situations. If you go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of our rear bumper, that's going to be about 6 inches, and you can use that to help figure out exactly if any of those folding style accessories you might have can be stored upright without hitting the back of your Lincoln. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, if you're needing a trailer hitch, really no reason not to get this one. Personally, I think it looks the best, and it has those higher capacities, so really can't go wrong. As far as the installation goes, believe it or not, pretty straightforward. You'd think on a vehicle like the Lincoln it'd be a little more complicated, and that really wasn't the case with this vehicle. You just remove a small panel here in the middle that drops down, put your hardware in the frame, and bolt the hitch up. So really shouldn't run into too many issues or take up a bunch of your time, but with that said, why don't we go ahead and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're going to be underneath the back of our Lincoln, and what we need to do, we have this underbody panel here in the middle, we need to get that removed. There's going to be several fasteners that run along this back edge. There's going to be 6 of these fasteners, and we can get them all removed with a 7mm socket. On the front side of our underbody panel, we're going to have a total of 4 10mm head plastic nuts, one on the frame, one kind of in the middle. The other side's going to be set up the same exact way, and from this point on, whatever we do to one side of our vehicle, we'll also do to the other side. So it'll all be the same. But with these, I usually don't even use a power tool or anything. Usually just grab an extension and the socket and get these off by hand. I already got the other 2 removed, and we should be able to lower this down and set it to the side. So we will not be reinstalling it. We can get our hardware in the frame rail now, and we're going to have 2 attachment points. This one here and this one here. And then this larger hole kind of off to the side, that's going to be our access hole. So that'll allow us to put the hardware into the frame. So I like to start with this one close to the back of a vehicle, and you can take a pull wire. What I like to do is just kind of judge the distance there from the attachment point to the access hole and put a bend in that wire. Makes it a little bit easier. You take the coiled end, run it through there, and get it to drop out of the access hole there. You can take a spacer block, put that over the pull wire and the carriage bolt. We'll thread that on. Feed the hardware up into the frame one at a time. And pull down on it until it drops through. And I'm going to do that same exact thing for this attachment point here. So the way everything's going to work here, we can raise our hitch into position. Once the bolts drop down through the hitch, you can pull off the fish wire, and then the hardware that you're going to use to secure the hitch will be all the same. You're going to have just a single flange nut that'll thread on to the bolt. If you have someone that can give you a hand with this, it'll make it much easier. You can take your pull wires. I like to put a little bend in the bottom too, that way when you push them through the hole, they're not going to want to come back out. Once you get both of them going, you can raise this up into position. Get the bolts to drop down through. And get our hardware started hand tight. Just a quick pointer, if you're having a hard time getting the nut to start because the bolt wants to push up into the frame, what you can do is take a small screwdriver and put some side pressure on that bolt. That'll keep it steady and make it a lot easier to get the nut started. But once you have all the hardware in place and hand tight, then we can come back with a 3/4 inch socket and snug everything down. Now you want to come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all of the hardware to the amount specified in the instructions. With that done, that will complete our look at and our installation of the Curt Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2018 Lincoln MKZ.